Zombie apocalypse. Oh. Welcome, 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 drones, friends, and countrymen. Welcome to the Beehive. You are here tonight on Zombie Apocalypse Night, the Apocalypse Humpday, where every Wednesday I read you one of my short stories from my books regarding the apocalypse, and we're currently on the zombie saga from my zombie novel, Zechariah 14:12, Humanity's Last Stand. It is available on Amazon. It is also available on barnesandnoble.com, and if you just Google the title of the book, or you just Google my name, it'll pop up and I'll let you know everywhere it's available. So it is available. You just have to order it online because I am self-published. And yeah, so make sure you come and check it out. I'll put a link right here on this very page for you folks to just clickety click on it, and it'll bring you right to the page and you can order it. I'm thinking about having a giveaway. One of my books. I don't know if it'll be this one or if it'll be one of the other ones. Anyhow, it'll be one of those books. And so, yeah, I've been a huge fan of the zombie genre since the 1970s, when my mom took me and my brother and my sister to go see George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. That was the first zombie movie I ever saw. And I've been kind of obsessed with it ever since. And so it's kind of influenced a lot of my fears growing up. And strangely, every time I walk in somewhere or I go to live somewhere, I always think, how can I reinforce this place against zombies? So yeah, that's just kind of what my mind did. And now I'm writing books about it. Okay, I've only written one book about it, but I am writing more, and there's plenty more to come. So, anyhow, welcome to Zombie Apocalypse Night, or Apocalypse Humpday, as we officially call it here. And hopefully y'all brought your badgers with, because according to one of my drones, Chuck, a honey badger will protect you from the undead, from them feasting on your flesh. So there is that one tip right there. Also, I decided to jump onto the Google machine this evening, and I asked Google to send me what they would think based on my algorithm. And I said, don't think that I don't know that you don't have an algorithm about me on there, and give me top 10 zombie movies that you think that I would enjoy. And so, let's peruse through some of them while some of you are buzzing into the hive. The first one on the list is a movie called The Dead Don't Die. That movie has, it's kind of a zombie comedy, or a zomcom, much like Shaun of the Dead. Not as funny as Shaun of the Dead. And I was actually, I was kind of disappointed in it. It has, what's his name? The guy from Star Wars, Adam Driver is in it. Bill Murray is in it. And Steve Buscemi is also in it. And it was kind of boring, to be honest with you. There wasn't the action that I'm used to in a zombie movie. And if it's going to be comedy, I just still think that there should be a little more action in it. So, and then it also sent me Dawn of the Dead, which, yeah, of course, it's the first one I saw. So, yeah, probably one of my top picks for zombie films. The one that disturbed me is when they remade Dawn of the Dead. And those dead people, they ran. And I'm like, oh my God, we are so screwed if that's the way these zombies are. So yeah. And then there's another one, and I actually caught this one on Netflix, and I would actually recommend this one. It's called The Girl with All the Gifts. And what that one is about, it's about the zombie apocalypse has hit the earth, and it's only affected the children. So the children are ravenous meat-eating zombies, but they still have their intelligence. And so they're trying to teach these children how to be human again. And there's one girl in particular that is highly intelligent and actually has some extrasensory powers. And she's really good at controlling her flesh craving. And she's the girl with all the gifts. It's a really pretty good movie and a really different take on the zombie genre. And I do suggest that one. Another one that they gave me was 28 Weeks Later, which was a sequel to 28 Days Later, I believe it is. I loved both of those movies, actually. Again, those were the running zombies, and they weren't the undead. They were actually infected with a rage virus, and they didn't really pick your bones clean. They just like to chew on you and spread the rage virus. So I think the coolest thing in there was one of the dudes got infected with a drop of blood in his eye, and he got infected. So that was kind of freaky. You don't have to get bit in order to be infected. Um, yeah, they've got all of George Romero's of the Dead movies in there. I enjoyed all of them except for Land of the Dead. When that came out, I went and seen it with my sister Nikki, and it was decent, but it was kind of like watching the video game Resident Evil. I don't know if any of you have ever played that, but when it first came out, it scared the crap out of me. But it was a fun game to play. But yeah, I would go see it if you're a Romero fan, but not as good as his previous movies. Another one that they sent me was it's called Record or Rec, RAC. That one was pretty good. It's a reboot of a Spanish zombie flick called Quarantine. And it's about a news team that is following around a fire team, a fireman team, and a fire department, whatnot. They follow around a fire department, and this fire department gets called to this apartment complex, and people are starting to act weird or whatever, and they actually are infected by a virus that one of the tenants had brought into the complex, and they have to quarantine the whole building. It's a pretty good one. Another one is called it's a hashtag alive. That one is a excuse me. That one is a Korean movie, and it was extremely good. It's about a guy, a very young guy, wakes up in an apartment complex, and the apocalypse is happening outside, and he is trying to stay alive, and he makes friends with a gal that's in the complex across the courtyard from him, and he's basically just trying to stay alive and battle tenants that have turned, and it's pretty good. They remade it into an American film as well with the same name. So I do recommend that one. Another one they sent me, um, well, World War Z. I hated it. I hated that movie. The only I just hated it because I enjoyed the book so well. The book is written by the an author named Max Brooks, and the book is about a UN reporter who basically interviews survivors of World War Z, the war that the entire globe took on against zombies, and each chapter is a story from the survivor he's interviewing. Awesome way to tell a story, and World War Z, the movie, was nothing like the book, and it was very disappointing. So yeah, there were some cool shots in there and stuff, but yeah, I just wasn't impressed. So you get a D minus on that one, Brad Pitt, for making it. Shaun of the Dead was recommended by Google. You have to see Shaun of the Dead. It's an absolutely funny movie, of course. Um, and it's a British film, and it's you just have to see it. It's got the Nick Frost and who else is another guy in there? Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are the two main characters in the movie, and it's actually absolutely funny, and there's action in it, and I mean there's everything you want in a zombie film. Um, Probably my most favorite zombie flick. It's a Korean zombie flick called Train to Busan, and it's the second movie in a trilogy. The first one was is called Seoul Station, um, and that is an anime, and that one was really excellent as well. Train to Busan is a live action movie, and when I watched it, you had to read the subtitles, and that's kind of hard when there's a lot of action going on. But it's an English dub one now because of its popularity, and it was yeah, probably my most favorite take on the zombie genre. There is a third movie to that trilogy, obviously, called The Peninsula. I wasn't too thrilled with that one. It kind of showed the world had turned into kind of a Mad Max type of world, and they were using zombies as like gladiators in an arena, and the military was kind of bad and stuff. Hey Chuck, good to see you. What's going on, Jason? I know the dogs, right? So yeah, and you also agree with Train to Busan. Yeah, yeah, it's an excellent movie. There's one more that I totally really liked, and it was probably the only movie, just plain movie. It starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he actually acted in that movie. I'm like, he really acted in that movie, and he wasn't like this big, overpowered superhero type guy. He played a dad, and the name of the movie is called Maggie, and it's basically it's kind of towards the end of the zombie apocalypse. Mankind is slowly trying to build themselves back, and what do they call it? They're euthanizing people that are infected. Well, the story is that Arnold's daughter had been bit. She hadn't turned yet, and she had ran away from home because she didn't want to get euthanized. And Arnold struggles to find her, and he finds her. And the law tries to confiscate her, and he makes a promise that he will end her life when she turns. And basically, you see him struggling as he watches his daughter slowly turn into a zombie. It's a heartwarming story. I think the thing that shocked me the most about it was how well he acted in that movie, and he also refused to get paid for that movie because he liked the script so well. He wanted the movie to get made, and he didn't want to eat up the budget. So he acted in that movie for free, and he acted the hell out of that part. So kudos to you, Arnold. It's good to see that you can really act. So anyway, those are the top 10 that Google threw at me for zombie flicks. If there's some out there that you guys liked, throw them in the comments here. We can talk about those or whatever. We're going to get into the book. Zechariah 14:12. We're on chapter 8. When we last left our folks there in zombie apocalypse land of Fair Lakes, Len, our hero, Len Emerson, was comforting his kids because their grandma had been overwhelmed by the deadheads. And tonight, we are going to be looking at the zombie apocalypse through the president's eyes as he is flying above the United States. So yeah, so we're going to check that out. And what the heck is my computer doing? These are the days that I need people like Jason to tell me what the heck what is going on here. But anyway, I'm just trying to get it so that I can see you guys and interact with you guys. And it's, let's see, let me get that. Can you be bigger? Oh, there we go. And there you guys are. All right, now let's pull up the book. There's the book. All right, chapter 8. Where are they? The president demanded from his slouched position aboard Air Force One. His personal aide had just brought him a drink, scotch with 7-Up. He didn't know how to answer that question. He had always been used to delivering good news. It wasn't hard, because his boss was one of the most popular presidents the United States had ever seen since Kennedy. The last report was that they were in a bunker at Sac Air Force Base in Omaha, sir, he answered with as steady a voice as he could muster. The truth was, the First Lady and their 2 daughters were evacuated from Sac 2 hours ago because the stronghold had been breached. They were on their way to the hangar to be flown out to an aircraft carrier somewhere off the Pacific coast. They had lost communication with their escort en route to the helicopter. Jesus, the president spat. Jesus, what is happening down there? His aide only sat down in silence, with hopes the question was rhetorical. Any word on the vice president's family? He asked, taking a gulp from his glass. They are in Cuba, sir, in a bunker with a few members of Congress and their respective families. The president finished his glass and handed it to his aide, motioning him to retrieve another. He stood up and loosened his tie and walked over to the door leading to the briefing room. He stopped without turning around. Have you heard any news regarding your own family? The president asked. No, sir. They were on a cruise to the Mediterranean when it all went down. I'm hoping that safeguarded them. Well, they'll be in my prayers, Douglas. Thank you, sir. With that, the president exited the cabin and went into a room filled with radar, communication equipment, and his emergency staff. The head of every branch of his military were there, as well as some of his cabinet members. They were all exhausted. None had probably slept since it all happened. Mr. President, they greeted in chorus. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, sitting down, what's the situation? The RAGV has spread throughout the United States, a representative from the CDC spoke up, showing a map of America. 89% of the United States was colored red. It is taking over northern Mexico and also the metropolitan areas of Canada. Are the safe zones holding? The president asked. The Army commander spoke up. We've lost communication with most our ground forces. The last communication we received was from our New York safe zone on Staten Island. They were taking heavy casualties and their resources were dwindling due to taking in refugees from the fallen safe zones at Madison Square Garden and the Federal Reserve. Son of a bitch, the president spat. Any news overseas? The airwaves have been quiet. his Air Force commander said. We've intercepted internet communications that much of the population has either taken to the sea or to the country. Colonel, the president looked up from his hands to the Marine colonel sitting across the table from him. Tell me we've gained some ground in keeping our own country safe? We have, sir. He cleared his throat. Well, it has been tough to fight these things with conventional warfare tactics. They are susceptible to missile fire, flames, grenades, and bullets, though the last one only seems to work when fired directly into their heads. We've developed scatter-load ammunition that explodes the skull on contact. Have we developed a cure or a treatment for this? He turned to the CDC representative again. The virus heats so fast that we haven't had a lot of time to test it. Reports from the field have said that they've been able to stave off the infected area on extremities with potent antibiotics we've developed and distributed to the safe zones, but we haven't been able to save anyone that has been bitten around the neck or head area. What the hell is this thing? And where the hell did it come from? It's not unlike the Ebola virus, where it tries to replicate its host into a mutated version of itself. However, the Ebola basically liquefies its host. The RAC virus successfully programs its host to find more hosts. A perfect killing machine, the Marine colonel gasped. The president frowns at him. Is this some kind of product of military weaponry? The Marine colonel jumps back as if struck. Well, no, sir. We haven't worked on biochemical weapons since the days of Desert Storm. Right, the president said sarcastically. Is the permanent origin of the RAC-V from somewhere in the United States? We're uncertain of that, sir, the CDC representative said. We only know of the first recorded outbreaks, which was in Manhattan, Kansas. Because of the speed of the virus spread, we were unable to pin down a patient zero. There were scattered reports when other countries began their outbreaks, but none of them could be confirmed. So, we have no idea if this is our fault, or if this is a terrorist attack with bioweapons. He said more to himself than anyone in the room. Mr. President, came in one of his communication officers, the Prime Minister of the UK is on the Skype. Patch it through. An image of the British Prime Minister appears on the screen at the front of the room. He is disheveled and there is some blood on his once white dress shirt. The connection was full of static. The internet was still up and running from the satellite controlled via remote. Most other communication had been lost after workers abandoned their post. Prime Minister, the president greeted. How are you holding up on your end? Not well, Mr. President. We've lost all of London. All our safe zones have all been overrun. I'm sorry, sir. Have you and your family found shelter? My family has found shelter in Ireland, but I'm afraid myself and a few staff members are losing ground here in the countryside. We've been able to fortify an old castle in Dorset, but my team is losing ammunition. If I have anyone from my fleet near the southern England, I will send them there to get you out. I'm afraid they may not make it in time. In the background, the president could see the British Prime Minister's troops falling back. The things had broken through the blockades and were now at the castle doors. The Prime Minister's eyes were wide with terror as he looked back to see the commotion. Oh my God, the president gasped. The British Prime Minister walked away from his laptop. Everyone could see him kneel down and grab a pistol off of a fallen soldier. The infected mowed their way through the few survivors in the castle. They tackled the Prime Minister just as he pulled the trigger and painted the ancient walls and ceiling with his brain. The communications officer clicked off the screen. "Ladies and gentlemen," the president said in his gravest tone, "I want communications back up with our safe zones. I want reinforcements, if any, deployed to every corner of the United States. I want a solution of stopping the spread of this virus within the hour. And I want someone to find out where my family is." His staff looked wide-eyed at each other. His aide grabbed his forearm gently and spoke with as much comfort as he could muster. "Mr. President, sir," he whispered, "about your family." All right. Well, I think if they would have talked to our friend Chuck here and loaded up and started a huge, massive breeding program for honey badgers, I don't think that we'd be in this problem today, would we? What do you think, Chuck? Anyways, that's it for tonight. On Chapter 9, we're going to be heading back to Woodlawn Avenue in Fair Lakes, Minnesota, and we'll be hanging out with Brent and Chris and Hal and see how they're holding up there. Chris is going to be a little concerned about the bite that she had gotten earlier in the book because it's getting worse. So yeah, there's that to deal with. Also next week, I will be doing a live reading. Will be from Florida, so southern Florida, I believe. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in Delray Beach, Florida. So yeah, and it'll be 10 o'clock there, 9 o'clock here when we do it. So anyways, thank you guys very much for coming out tonight and chiming in. I always appreciate that. Also, we've been doing this for a few months now, and I want to hear from you guys. Leave me a comment or shoot me a message. Let me know if you guys want to see something different, or if you guys like how we're doing this, or whatever. If you like this forum, I am coming up with some ideas. I think I'm going to end up just spending some money on some software so that I can do more stuff on here, because I can't wait for 5,000 subscribers to be able to do more with this stuff. It would just be easier for me to pay a subscription for software to be able to do some live podcasting and being able to like bring people in remotely and talk back and forth, and being able to share my screen and all that other stuff. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing here in the future. There's a lot of ideas I got going on. Still have the idea to get my books into prisons and jails as well. So still have to figure out the legalities and the money stuff and how I can make that happen. Anyhow, I hope you guys have a good week. I'm flying out of here on... Well, I'm not going to give away my whole thing, otherwise people will be robbing my house probably. But don't, because I got somebody here watching the place. So, yeah. And he can shoot real good. Anyway. All right, folks. I'm calling it a night. I'm actually pretty tired, so it was a busy day today. Started at 6:30. So, all right. Have a great night. Stay safe. Thanks, Jason. I will. And I'll talk to you guys all from Florida next time. Again, we will probably not be having a Tunes for Tuesday next week, simply for the fact I'm not bringing my guitar to Florida. My buddy, yeah, I do need some more drones, man. You're very, very correct on that. My buddy Kevin, if things work out, he might be able to bring me a guitar, because he lives in Florida. So, but he's also like 4 or 5 hours away from where I'm going to be at. So anyway, if something like that does change, I'll let you guys know. So in the meantime, peace out, you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next week. Yeah. Be safe. All right. Keep buzzing, folks. I'm out of my mind.